A big mabuhay around the world, and welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone's doing great out there. I know the news hasn't been so good lately. In the U.S., it's been okay, but in the Philippines, not so good. But I want to liven it up by saying, I'm going to help you get free K1, K3 visa. Stay tuned. So, anyway, going through all of these remembrances and nostalgia and getting some of the comments on the board, it sort of got me thinking about what would be most useful for a video and also might what appeal to people and help them. Even though I don't know how many out there, I'm sure there's a few still doing visas. I know the coronavirus has kind of put a hold on things, and especially to our friends and family in central Luzon. You know, it's tough, man, right now. I don't know about the rest of the Philippines, but I know right in central Luzon, or I think they call it Manila Plus right now, they're going to try to go to a modified MCQ when I was there, and then they want to go to a modified general quarantine, and I'm like, oh man, what does that mean? I don't think anyone knows what it means. But I wish everyone there the best. And I hope everyone gets their jobs back and gets their lives back. You know, in the U.S., we're kind of seeing light at the end of the tunnel. The CDC said that, you know, as far as states will allow, you can go outside without a mask if you're vaccinated, things like that. So it seems like we're making progress. So hopefully things will head that way for the Philippines and for everyone in the U.S. or around the world, but especially in the U.S. because I don't know the visa process in other places. I know the U.S. because, man, the K1, K3 is a tough road, man. You know, people said when we were applying, to a certain degree, it's made to be difficult. So people have to overcome some hurdles. And let me say that you and your loved one have to work as a team. You really do. It's a mental game. It's a frustrating game. Especially now, and it's tough. And so you got to keep your patience. It's a mind game and it's a money game, and that's why I'm all about free. So I'm going to show you some things that you can really do this yourself, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm going to go into it a little bit. Now, I don't know if I have to say this or not, but, you know, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a professional with visas or anything like that. But you know, I went to a really good college. My wife was a college graduate, went to a really good school. And we were able to figure it out ourselves. Now, does that mean you have to be a college graduate? No, you don't have to be. But you have to be organized. You have to be professional about it. And you just have to really follow the steps. And if you do that, you will get through it. You know, I mean, the paperwork side. The other side, that whole emotional thing going on, man, let me tell you. So, like, I met my wife in March. We've been talking for a year, chatting and talking. And it was, you know, we were so excited. We met each other. We decided to proceed. And we could have waited till Christmas, or I could have went back in the summer. And I was a teacher. I said, man, we're on a roll. Let's just keep going. And we decided to get married in June. Oh, man. Little did I realize, you know, what was going to take place there. And all the paperwork, the birth certificates, and all this stuff we had to get for the marriage. And, man, it was tough. My wife was running around after work, and if you haven't been in Manila, man, oh, it's rough. So she was arranging the wedding and all this stuff. And meanwhile, we had been told about a visa preparation service in Manila. And so when I got to Manila in March, we decided to see this girl, right? This woman who ran this agency. And it was one of those hot Far East days. And it's like my first time in the Philippines. And I just walked out and I'm like melting. Just, oh man, it was unbelievable. And we got into the car. The driver had his AC turned down, or it wasn't working too well. And I'm sitting there and it was like blowing hot air on me. And I see these poor Filipino traffic cops, you know, with full length shirts on and their sleeves all the way down. And I'm like, whoa, how can these guys not pass out? And I'm just ready to pass out. We go up there, and of course, everyone's handing water to you. Hey, you want water? You want water? You want water? You know, and I'm like, yeah, it's okay. So we sit down, and the lady runs through, and she wants like I think it was $3,000 or $4,000 at that time, which was like, was that 13, 14 years ago. And I had no experience with it. You know, I was a good student and everything, but I was like, man, I don't want to mess this up. And that's why I think a lot of people go to lawyers and visa preparation service, because they're like, man, I don't want to screw this up. This is like the love of my life. I got to hire a professional to do it. And so we hired the girl. I gave her like $1,500, I think, you know, as a deposit. And she kind of put the little pressure on. You going to do it? You're not going to do it. I was like, anyway, so I gave her the check. And they started the process off, right? And so they got that. We started sending our paperwork in. Then we got married. We had to give her document. You know, we handed our documents to her. But as we started going through all this, it became apparent that while they were okay, and quite frankly, there's a lot of worse people that we've had, you know, that I heard of that were doing this visa process where they really screwed it up. Even lawyers were screwing it up because they get like, it's easy for them. It's $5,000. You know, they hand it in. And then you got to pay, you know, U.S. immigration, you know, their fees and everything, which, like I said, this is a mental and money game, you know. And, you know, I had been through there. We paid for our wedding. And I highly recommend, you know, when this whole COVID thing blows over, that you guys really get married in the Philippines. Now, I was looking at stats, and a lot of people don't. And that'll be you know, it really should be another subject for a video. But to me, for your money and the way the Filipinos love weddings, it's really, really the way to go. That's my opinion, you know. But we had a great time at the wedding. It was once in a lifetime. And, man, the Filipinos do a great job on the wedding. They really do. And the money was well spent. And it wasn't, you know, comparatively speaking with the U.S., it was like a song. It was cheap, you know, for us. But for me, you know, after I'd gone, that was like my second trip. Man, you know, and I'm paying for immigration and everything else, and I'm on a teacher's salary. Man, it was hurting a little bit. And so, you know, going through this, you know, looking back at it, man, and then you got to keep in constant communication with your fiance or your loved one and all this, and it's stressful. You know, you're doing your job, you're doing everything. So we were doing it, and you know, the visa service was okay, but they weren't as responsive as we thought they were. And then we started noticing some mistakes they were making. Not big ones, but like little mistakes, like, you know, not capitalizing things, spelling a little thing wrong. Not a big deal. But we were asking them questions, and they really weren't responding. And so we decided, you know, to also proofread everything and kind of notice everything they were doing and ask questions about it as well. And so we would give them we would fill out the documents and give it to them, make sure everything was filled out okay, and then have them send it in, because we started not to trust the way they were doing the documents. But we did all that, and unfortunately, as we were doing this, and this is, you know, COVID is going to be a bigger delay than we had, but they raised the fees, substantially raised the fees right before we applied. And so everyone got their application ahead of time, and everything was slowed down for a year. I swear to you, for a year. And it was unbelievable. And they said, oh, we're hiring people. And it's like, I don't care if you're hiring people. Let's get this done. And then the waiting began. And it took a year because of that delay. Everyone sent in applications at one time. And then I had wished I'd gone the K-1 route, you know, because it would have been quicker. At that time, I think they put K-1s ahead of K-3s. But anyway, as we're doing this whole thing and waiting and going through the whole thing, we discovered this website. This website is like your best friend in the world for free advice and how to step you through. Like if you had a big brother or a big sister and you want to know everything about this process for the U.S., this is what you would do. And so some guy started this website, I don't know, like 15, 20 years ago, and he documented his journey, and he called it Visa Journey. And it's still going, and it's totally free. And it tracks everything, like experiences at certain embassies, questioning at embassies. Also, like how you're questioned once you get to the U.S., at the airports, at port of entry, when you apply for your green card, and you know all these fancy words like adjustment and stuff. They got everything in there. And they got step-by-step instructions. It's unreal. I mean, it's totally free too. And like when we have any questions still, like when we had to get our dual citizenship, I mean, my wife had to get her dual citizenship and all that, we go right to Visa Journey, make a posting, and Filipinas will respond. They'll get back to you. And husbands will everyone will get back to you. And it's amazing. It really is. And so let's take a look at this website. If I can get my cursor going here. Here we go. So, you just go into your website, right? And you just click on, you just type in Visa Journey. You see, I spelled it wrong, but it comes up anyway. You get this up in Google, right? And then this is the main page for Visa Journey. And then you just click on whatever you want. So like the immigration guides, and I'll show you in a second, will show you all the different, guides for K-1, K-3, adjustment of status, green card, citizenship, all of that. You get your country-specific help, where it means would be the Philippines for you guys, and you can make friends on there. As a matter of fact, all the girls that kind of were on the same sort of timeline as my wife, they all met up at Mall of Asia for an eyeball. And for those of you that are in the Philippines, eyeball means face-to-face, right? They had a party before they went. And then when they got back, they conversed back and forth. I am just amazed at how Filipinos, like, they keep in contact and help each other. It's really an amazing thing. And so you have also approval estimates over here. And this is, they also have, and we'll go this on the end, but they also have professional help where you can hire somebody. And I don't know anything about these guys. But by and large, and this is just the bulletin board for the Philippines, you get all kinds of questions. Hotels, where's your hometown, businesses take a hit. You can post anything here and get a response. And of course, immigration questions as well. If you go in here and you pull down the Philippines, you're brought over here. And you get all these these are recent topics, quick links. So you can get the Filipino members. We can click on that real quick. And so you get everybody here. That's a member. You get consulate information. Best way to contact them. And this is, of course, the Manila Embassy. Consulate reviews. And I guess they'll have it for Manila and also Cebu, I guess, or something like that. And the timelines. I don't even want to look at the timeline, okay? It's got to be pretty frightening right now. And then here are the guides. So what visa do you need? It even talks about what you should go for. And we can. I'm going through this rather quickly. I mean, you can take a look yourself. But look, it talks about how many time for visa. So the K-1 is still ahead of the married visa, which I don't really get, okay? I don't really get that at all. They were supposed to make that even, but to me, if you're married, you should be processed quicker than engaged. So this might, play a role in what you want to do, even though many Filipinos would like to get married. And some of them have a small ceremony that's not really official, and then they go to the U.S. and get married. So, it's up to you guys. Now, look at this. The married costs more than the fiance. I mean, I don't know. To me, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's enough of me because I went to K3, right? But, it still looks like the K1 might be the way to go for simplicity. But, it talks about all these things. And seeing this is the one thing that's an advantage for K1, and we can talk about it later, is you can get your Social Security and employment documentation. I think it's a little quicker than the K3. No, it says you can apply for it, but I remember something, and I don't know if it ever happened, that K1 was a little faster with that kind of stuff. But anyway, this shows you the step-by-step, or the decision you guys can make, what visa you should go for. And then you just click on the guide, who's eligible to file, and it tells you what form, the very famous I-129F. Nightmares about that, So you kind of go through there, documentary proof that you haven't met. And this is going to be the difficult one. So let me get my face back on here. That's going to be the difficult one right then, is the meeting, where you're going to meet. During COVID, it's like impossible, So that's going to be the really hard part. But if you've met already, then, maybe this can help you. But this anyway can help you get going, can help you sort of on the way. And if I go back here real quick, what other goodies we have here? These are the timelines. So let's take a look at the timeline here for K-1. And so these are people with their individual timelines. And you can also look it up by country as well. So these people are from 2020, almost a year ago. And you have all these different terms first action, last action. Then you can sign up for that. And like I said, there is a professional kind of version here. You can hire people to kind of do it for you. So, and if I remember correctly too, occasionally, if you're very kind of in tune with your local news and stuff, and also the internet, do searches, because I know that locally, sometimes lawyers offer free advice. I know there was a group out of New York State that did it. And you go to their website and sign up, and you could ask them questions. And then there was somebody else who was doing it. I forget who they were, but you can always get these people, to ask questions for, and it's free, free. As the TurboTax commercial says, free. So anyway, this has all been free. I'm trying to look ahead for everybody. I'm trying to give them some hope and get them prepared. You can get your documents now. You can get, that kind of stuff ready, like your birth certificates, and that stuff can be a real bear to get. So now could be a time that if you're, in the process of meeting someone, or you've met somebody and you're serious about it, and you've proposed, or you think you're going to get married, or you've made that decision, now could be the time that you kind of sit back and plan, and keep documents of your emails and your phone calls and all that stuff. We can talk about that in the next video. But I don't know. This is like the best of times, the worst of times. With COVID and everything else, like I said, it's an opportunity to really bond with people. And if it's really meant to be, it's meant to be. If God wants it to be, it will be. And if the relationship is meant to continue or not to continue, it will have to, sort of go through a trial here. And all these relationships, foreign relationships, go through trials. When you meet the person and when they come to the U.S., I don't think there's one that's ever as smooth as people think it is. But what I'm trying to say is, someone that's gone through this, right now would be a great time, if you can, because I know it's tough everywhere, to make a little bit of extra money if you are going to, go through the visa process. I haven't looked at the fees. I'm sure they're outrageous as usual. I think I must have spent like $20,000 between, her coming and citizenship, something like that. It's really outrageous, and the fees should really be put down. Then of course, you have to have so much money and income and all that stuff. So now would be the time, if you're planning or if you've met someone, to really build up the financial side and get the documents going, or try to make plans of what you need. In the U.S., a lot of this stuff can be done by mail. In the Philippines, you got to go in person. I don't know if people want to go because of COVID and stuff, but maybe in the provinces you can, or at least make a checklist and all that stuff. And please I'm going to show the website again. Take a look at Visa Journey. Educate yourself. It's a great website. It really is. And you know what? Before I forget, I'm going to put my face back on. You can do this yourself. You really can. And we've been kicking ourselves for years saying, why did we pay? Why did we pay? And because after we did the initial visa for her to come over, the K3, we did everything else ourselves. We did adjustment of status. We did all those things. So if I get some responses on this, I can do a more detailed step through for everybody. And maybe that's what I'll do. So maybe next time, I'll start with fiance visa. I don't know. It depends on what people want. Maybe I can do it once a week, what form to fill out, things like that. Remember, I don't know if I'm required to. I'm not a lawyer, okay? I'm just a guy that's been through this. So, but I think I'm pretty smart. My wife was pretty smart, I think, but, you can ask us questions, but like I said, we're not into the legal thing. We're not a professional representative, but we'll do our best to kind of help you out. And but if you don't really have any complications, like you don't have like a criminal record or anything like that, and you've never been denied a visa or anything like that, it's pretty easy process. Once you get flagged for something like that, like if you live in Mindanao or you had a criminal record, or you probably want to maybe consult an attorney. But if you have a clean record and everything, even if you're in Mindanao, sometimes they hold the process up down there because of terrorism and stuff like that. But anyway, we can go through that. I'm getting ahead of myself as usual. Ahead of myself. Anyway, hope everyone's doing great. Our prayers go around the world and to Central Luzon, into Manila Plus, or into Manila, and hope this thing ends soon. Everyone else, God bless, be well. Subscribe, comment, do everything out there for me, okay? We're trying to get this channel going. It's been a blast talking to everybody. And when you give me comments, it just makes me want to do this more, really. I'm a former teacher. I like to help people. I like to be engaged. So let me know. Take care. Be well, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.